time to start the question. So we welcome our panelists for today. Welcome, SARS. Welcome, Mar. And like I said, if you have career-related questions, here's a good time to send them in the chat box. But we're going to kick off with the questions we got yesterday. So, Dr. Iyobosa, to start with you, yesterday during the session of lasers, and while it was really interesting for us that already think there was someone who asks in lasers, what contribution does a medical physics play with respect to cancer care? So do you want to answer that for us?
You are breaking, no? Was I the only one that wasn't hearing her? What did she say?
Oh, can we hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Can we hear me now?
Yep.
Can we hear my question? Or should I take it again?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so I said yesterday during the session, while people were interested in being laser specialists, someone asked, are there other roles of medical physicists in contribution to cancer care other than being a laser specialist?
Oh, yeah, of course. There are many, many. In fact, that's even, I won't say that's our major role, in radiation therapy, which is one way of treating cancer. There are several ways of treating cancer, but physicists come in the application of radiation treatment. And in radiotherapy, medical physicists are involved right from the start, right from even building the radiotherapy center. You are there to advise on where the cancer center should be built, the materials to be used for shielding, equipment specification. Medical physicists are responsible for advising management and other professionals on the right equipment to purchase for treatment. Clinically, you're responsible for QA, QC, ensuring quality of those equipments, planning the treatment. The oncologist would say, okay, this is what I want to deliver to the treatment to the patient. The physicist is the one responsible for working that out, and training of radiation professionals, research, radiation safety, ensuring that patients are safe during treatment, the public are safe during treatment, the staff who are working there are safe. What else? A lot. It's a whole lot. We are involved in the entire workflow of radiation treatment of cancer. Yeah. And there's a document I will share in the chat, the IA document that clearly outlines every single role we have to play there and explains it further. Yeah. So I hope I said everything. Off the top of
Amazing.
my
Thank
head.
you so much,
Yeah.
Mar. Yes, you did. Thank you so much. And if there's anything that stood out for me yesterday during the session was there are numerous applications of physics in medicine,
Yep.
and part of what the Harmattan School is doing for us is to even expose our minds to seeing
Yeah.
bigger possibilities that exist for a physicist in medicine. Okay, thank you so much for your response. I would move to Dr. Ken Sylvester, who is our VP. And the question here is, how do I become a medical physicist? And at what stage should I, as an undergraduate physicist, start preparing for a career in medical physics? Dr. Ken.
Mute.
Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Did you get my question, sir?
Yes, I got the question.
Okay.
But can you hear me? Because I'm seeing a pop-up here. The host cannot allow participants to unmute. So,
Oh, we
are you
can hear
hearing?
you. Yes,
Okay,
we
that's
can.
fine. Okay, so the question was, at what point does an undergraduate assume to have become a medical physicist, right?
No, so the person is asking, how can I become a medical physicist? And as an undergraduate, when do I start to prepare for a career in medical physics?
Okay. Now, it's good to understand that somebody who is an undergraduate is already thinking of pursuing a career in medical physics. That's a good one. And basically, let me start from when should I start preparing? Then before I arrive at when would I become? So at the point when you start preparing is at the undergraduate level, because for the fact that you already have some knowledge about medical physics means that you've come to a junction where you're already thinking about which way forward, right? So at the point when you start having the idea, that is the time to start setting the path to follow. And the undergraduate level is actually the time. Because if you decide when you're at the undergraduate level, it makes you to really focus and put your energy together to pursue the profession at the graduate level. And at the graduate level, like I think not long ago, we had a conversation on the platform about being a medical physicist with BSc, and some were for it and some were against that position. And I made a statement that we have to follow the order and what is obtainable the world over. Now, medical physics is not a program for the undergraduate level per se, because at undergraduate level, you have a width with minimal depth. You have a width, with minimal depth. So you cover quite a lot of area, but you go less, into it. And for the demands of medical physics, it's not something that at that level you can assume you have become a medical physicist, because there are quite a lot you don't know. You just know in the periphery, but when it comes to the actual application of physics to medicine, at the point when it's expected that you should take decisions less of supervision. As a medical physicist, you've come to a point when you should critically think and arrive at decisions that are safe. But at undergraduate level, you can be a bit emotional, and sometimes not really because you're emotional, but because you're not knowledgeable. You take certain decisions that patients will pay dearly for. So, and at the graduate level, it's not just about the academics, because you can acquire master's degree in medical physics, but that is not enough to make a medical physicist. Fine, that could, allow you to be employed as a medical physicist, but that is not enough for you to practice, because it's not a thing of theory, it's a thing of practical. So there will be need for mentorship, there will be need for residency where it's obtainable. And where residency is not obtainable, you can also, learn in the job under, more senior medical physicists. And in that way, you can also, write exams for certification. At that point, you won't start beating your chest so fast, but at least you can start breathing normal, like you are almost there. But then it's something that you grow in the job, because even if you have the certification, you have the academic qualifications, there is need for continuous learning, because you are dealing with patients and innovations keep coming from time to time. And there is also need for you to, be progressive with the innovations. So let me stop at that point. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So if there's anything again, it will be that the undergraduate is the beginning stage, and it's a good one that we are already gaining, or undergraduate are already gaining information about the field, but there will be need to go further, because you cannot beat your chest to say you're already a medical physicist. You will need to learn further. You would need to take trainings and experiences over time before you can affirm that you're a medical physicist. Thank you so much, sir, for that questions. We have like quite a bulk of questions, so would appreciate that all our answers are very, very brief. So the next question we'll have here, this should be for Dr. Madu, which is It says, what skills, both technical and soft skills, are essential to succeed as a medical physicist?
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
I will say every skill is required to succeed as a medical physicist. Both them soft, both them hard, if you have anything like that. Because I must tell you, medical physics is a very, very challenging field. That is why, like the last speaker said, it is not a course that you just say wake up and you say you want to become. Even at secondary school level, there are so many campaigns about medical physics. In fact, if you go to IOP, you see a session there where a medical physicist is um, a a sub specialty of physics that is given attention to even at the secondary school level. So just to tell you that medical physics is something that requires a lot of skill. And again, when you come to intellectual capacity, of course, physics is it has been told as a very, very difficult subject. It can't be further from the truth. So one has to be emotionally prepared to move into this journey of physics. We cannot shy away from it. We've got to be very, very intentional about our desire to take up medical physics as a profession. But at this point, it is not as if we want to uh, make people become frightful about physics, medical physics. It is actually a very, very exciting profession, and I can tell you from experience that if you are studying medical physics, there are so many um, things that will always give you joy because you're always there for the patient. You are contributing to society. You are contributing to the welfare of a society. So that alone gives you joy and a sense of fulfillment. So apart from being prepared emotionally, being prepared psychologically, and having the soft skill, I think everything revolving around the medical fields has to do with all the capacity we have mentioned there, developing them to the brim. So, like your questions asked, we've got to develop all the skills you can think of. Of course, today we are transitioning into a specialized role using AI. As a physicist, you can't just sit back and think so many things can be done without you being involved. We all have to be involved. We've got to study a lot do a lot with AI, of course, to do a lot with programming because they're all interrelated. So it is there for us to take. We don't have to take anything for granted. We've got to develop all our faculty because we will need them while they're treating patients. Because it's not just about for us, some of us who work in the hospital, it's not just about going behind the system to go and make a particular treatment plan. There are some times when you have problems. That is when your faculty is pushed to the limit. How do you tackle a particular problem that comes to you? Then you are bringing in
Mm.
both your soft skill that you have developed over the years as you continue to advance in the profession. So for me, I think you need all the skills um, that you will need in any other profession you are actually into. But for medical physics, I think it is much more important that these skills, you build them intentionally, not just because you want to study medical physics, because of the key role that you are going to play. Because you should remember that the safety of the patient relies on you. If you make any mistake, it is going to be very, very detrimental. It's going to be a systemic mistake. For example, if you are doing a commissioning, you make a mistake of a simple data, putting in the wrong data. It is going to translate to all the patients you are going to treat throughout the lifetime of that machine until maybe you do another commissioning on the machine. So I would say you need all the skills possible to be able to,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. So from what I gained from what you said would be we need both the technical and the soft skills. So it will not just be your technical expertise in the field, your emotional intelligence, even grit, like you said, because it's not a like easy course. You need grit to really stay through the course. And thank you so much. I would like Dr. Iyobosa to add to that, but also while answering that, answer one recurring questions that people have been asking. I'm an environmental and radiation physicist. How do I transition to medical physics? I'm a theoretical physicist. How do I transition? Solar physicist. How do I transition? And we still have people from even other backgrounds like anatomy, public health, even like non-physics related backgrounds who are asking how do they transition into medical physics. So over to you, Dr. Yobusa.
Okay, you asked me to question. Okay, so I'll just add to what Dr. Madu has said, Professor Quantum, like we like to call him. So in 2024, we had a lecture in the Harmattan School. I was looking for the video while he was speaking, so I can share it in the chat, where we looked at skills, necessary skills for medical physicists to have. But because of time, from my own experience, I want to highlight the communication skills. Physicists, from my own experience, don't know how to speak well. I'm talking of even speaking proper English and learning and how communicating their science to fellow professionals. We are working in a disciplinary team. That's the beauty of medical physicists, medical physics. We work with the medical doctors, nurses, engineers, lab scientists, pharmacists, different professionals that you probably will not encounter if you are doing other branches of physics. You are coming from a science field, pure sciences, you're coming into medicine. All these other guys, the medical doctors, the lab scientists, they studied medical courses from 100 level. You were studying maths, and physics and Lagrange and Laplace, and you are coming into medicine. You have to learn the language that they already know how to speak. So communication, because we are responsible for training every single professional in that field. So we should be able to know how to communicate this physics to them. So speaking well, speaking proper English. I'm sorry, nobody has any excuse. You don't have any excuse to not speak properly in this present day and age. You have even writing, even being able to write. Microsoft Word will correct your grammar for you. Duolingo will teach you how to speak well. Because these people, if you don't speak properly, if you cannot communicate science properly to them, they would not respect you. That's one thing. A lot of physicists complain that they are not respected in the hospital. You are not respected because you are not presentable. And it's not only in how you appear physically, in how you speak and how you communicate the science. You are training people. You should be able to communicate radiation physics or whatever branch of physics in a way that they can understand. So communication skill will be the top of my list, in addition to every other thing that Professor Quantum has said. The second question you asked about transitioning to physics, from whether you are environmental, theoretical, or you are even coming from physiology, or somebody that if you studied English, it doesn't really matter. There's a clear path to becoming a medical physicist. It is clearly outlined. I shared an IA document in the chat. Please, everybody should go and read that document. You see it there. Regardless of where you're coming from, to become a medical physicist, you must first be a physicist. You cannot be a gynecologist if you've not studied medicine in school. So no problem. You studied English, you want to become a medical physicist. No problem. You have to go back and study physics. Anybody can become anything they want to become in the world. Go back and study physics. Then that's the beginning of the journey to becoming a medical physicist. You understand? There's no way. If you want to go and visit Tinubu in Aso Rock, there's no direct flight to Aso Rock. You have to first of all take a plane from wherever you're coming from, land in Abuja airport, then you take a taxi to go and meet Tinubu. So you have to there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts. So people should please, a good medical physicist is first a sound physicist. The reason why we are having poor low quality medical physicists, whether in the hospital, in the academia, or in the industry, is because they have very bad physics. Some of them did not even come from physics background. So please, or if you studied English, no problem. We want more physicists in the field, but please, you have to pass through the right chart. So physics first, then you go and do a postgraduate program in medical physics, either an MSc or a PhD. And then if you want to become a clinical physicist, you now have to do clinical training. You want to work in the industry, you go to the industry. You want to be a lecturer, you do what you need to do. For you to be a lecturer, you have to have a PhD. So there's a clear path. I hope that clears everybody's question.
So in summary, there are no cutting corners.
No,
You have to. But there's not. Is it that, for example, are there not short? Because considering, I think what people might be considering is, I've done a 4 or 5 year course in maybe public health or another course, and maybe is there not maybe a short course that I can just take before entering medical physics or something?
Please, can I come in there?
Okay, sir.
She has actually outlined what one needs to become a medical physicist. But at this point in time, it is very, very critical. I will let people know that it is not everybody that brandishes a certificate or a document that he is a medical physicist that should consider as a medical physicist. That should be clear, especially in a country like Nigeria where so many anomalies happen. You can see somebody who maybe out of maybe connection or so goes to a university and he's awarded a medical physics degree. It is not so. Like Dr. Iyobosa said, for you to become a medical physicist, you must first of all be a physicist. That is a very, very sacrosanct. We cannot, there's no way, it is not further, there's no further truth than that. Then for other subspecialty, other physicists, of course, if you're an environmental physicist, you must have done your full physics course. So transitioning to medical physics wouldn't be that difficult for you. So many universities will have you doing maybe 1 or 2 courses that you didn't do during your undergraduate. But as an environmental, maybe any other branch of physics, you should have you should have done all the physics courses required for you to do. Then you can be accepted into maybe postgraduate course in medical physics. In fact, for schools who do actual medical physics, they will go through all your courses. You must have done your quantum physics, even if you are doing education physics. Those areas you haven't done, you've got to complete done your postgraduate before you can even begin the postgraduate study, maybe in MSc physics. So those things are clear. So for some of us in Nigeria and some parts of Africa where we don't have a very, very developed medical physics because we don't have we are still far from it when it comes to certification and all those stuff. But when we have all those, every other thing will be in place. There are so many schools in Nigeria offering medical physics that are not accredited, that we know they are not offering medical physics. So we should get that clear. If anybody comes to us brandishing a certificate claiming to be a medical physicist, of course, we should know that the lowest qualification, the minimum qualification is a BSc or a BTech or whatever in physics.
Thank you so much, Dr. Madu. Yes, so to Dr. Ken, I would like to ask, I think that's another thing that a lot of people have been asking. Um, there's the academic part of physics, and now there is the clinical, or should I say practical experience of physics. And people are asking, is it compulsory to have clinical experience in medical physics? And if it is compulsory, considering the um, the country we are in, where it feels like there are limited opportunities for clinical experience, so are there maybe other paths that people can venture into, maybe for their internship, if they don't have access to clinical experience in the hospital?
Okay, thank you for the question. Obviously, like we said, that medical physics is not it's not one of those things that you do permutations. It's not something that you turn in results by gazing. You can't turn in results by gazing. You really need to be, most times I tell, younger ones in the field, if you're somebody who is genetically careless, who is genetically not organized, if you want to become a medical physicist with a difference that makes an impact, you will learn how to be organized because mistakes can be so expensive. Now, if mistakes can be so expensive, that means for you to practice in the clinic, you really need a threshold. It's not based on what you watch on YouTube. You don't learn medical physics on YouTube. There's going to be hands-on. Now, I understand the limitations and the challenges in the country. Few centers, few qualified, senior professionals in the field. But that notwithstanding, you don't assume that you're a pilot. You don't assume you're a pilot. Nobody's going to give you license to fly any aircraft if you have not been tested, trusted, and proven. So the same thing applies to the field. So for you to become a clinical medical physicist, you're not going to be theoretical. You are going to be hands-on. You're going to be, taught. Now, a situation where we have a challenge like we have in Nigeria, I encourage the senior colleagues to be generous and magnanimous enough to train younger ones that look a bit stranded. That is one. Secondly, I also advise the mentees to be mentees indeed, because there are mentees that appear as if they are the mentors. Part of the problem we have in the country today is that some who for so many years would have brought themselves, calm down and be trained with foreign opportunities they had. They misused the opportunities, ate pizza, drank Coke, came back to the country, and they have nobody to train. So those opportunities wasted. Today, if you have an opportunity, now there should always be, when you come back from every training, try to step down the training, step it down. And when equipment is available, take the younger ones to the equipment. And again, I think we are doing it for so many years now, the workshop part of it, which we'll also hope to enhance on, so it gives opportunity. So to make it simple, and, because I don't have all the time to talk about it, the advice is, as long as you want to be a clinical medical physicist, there is no shortcut. You really need hands-on because you're not consulting ChatGPT. You're not making prescription. I mean, there are quite a lot you just need to do based on the experience you have. So you're not going to guess about it. And that means you really need to be trained. And where opportunities, because opportunities for overseas training are not always there. Where the opportunities are there, please, if you go there, maximize it. Don't eat pizza and come back and be speaking English. Maximize it so that when you come back, more people will benefit from the opportunity you had. And I think by that way, we can expand, largely with having people who are clinically sound, and that will be good for it. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. So Dr. Iyobosa, I would like to ask, still like as a follow-up to Dr. Ken's question, which he highlighted two important things, which are if people have the experience opportunity to intern in clinical centers and hospitals, they should take it. If they don't, there can also be like maybe mentor-mentee relationship that that can be used. There's another pathway. So I have two questions in one. How important is it to have mentors in the field, especially for maybe an undergraduate or early career medical physicist in navigating this field? Are there importance of having a mentor, and maybe if you can briefly talk about maybe the pathways to getting a mentor. Then the next one I want to ask is looking at this session, this Harmattan School, where we're considering the physics of ultrasound, lasers, and the other aspects that we would be covering. And a Nigerian is looking at, maybe in an African generally, is looking at maybe the limited opportunities that exist. and because they clearly exist, maybe because of the number of limited centers we have, and the person is saying, okay, in the meantime, or maybe if I don't have the opportunity to, maybe in quote, see a mentor or even get access to a clinical center, are there other ways that I can practice and be relevant the constraints that we have here in Africa currently?
Okay, thank you for those questions. Can you hear me? Because she was breaking at some point. Okay, I can see people are moving. Okay, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So mentorship is no, we cannot talk. You can spend 2 hours talking about mentorship and mentee with the importance of it. It is too important. Who is a mentor? A mentor is simply someone who has gone ahead of you, who has traveled the journey or gone in the way you want to go, and he or she is there to guide you so that you do not make mistakes, because most likely the mentor would have made some mistakes and have known that, okay, no, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done this, and then he or she is there to guide you so that you don't make those kind of mistakes again and ensure that you have a smooth ride along that journey. Personally, I'm big on mentorship. I'm a product of mentorship. Getting into medical physics in the first place was through a mentor, someone I consider my mentor today. Because I remember then when I was in FUTA, it was in my second year or my third year. I mean second year, because I've always been interested in medical physics, and all my lecturers were telling me, no, better don't do medical physics, go and do something else that will bring money. Just one person said to me, if this is what you want to do, stick with it and I will help you, I will guide you. And that person was there with me along the way, even the times I wanted to give up. Even when I did my master's and said, I don't think I can cope, the person said, no, 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 you have to. So that's the role of a mentor. My parents would not have been able to know a specific direction of where you want to go, and is there to guide you. Not everybody, again, is willing to guide. Like Dr. Ken was saying, somebody can go and you're supposed to be learning, and you go and learn, eat pizza, and come back and you have nothing to give back to the younger ones. So it's very, very important. And mentorship has no age limit. I am a mentor to people, and I also have people that are mentoring me. As long as until I leave this planet Earth, there will always be somebody who has gone ahead of me. So it's very, very, I cannot overemphasize that. Anybody who does not even have a mentor, I see that person as a proud person. I see you as someone who thinks that you know everything. And once you think that you know everything, I immediately I know that you don't know anything. So mentorship, everybody should have a mentor, especially in this. It could be in any area of your life, but yes, you should have a mentor. Find it. Even in this day of technology, even if you don't have anybody in Nigeria, thank God for technology. You can have somebody that you can be communicating with abroad through Zoom. It's just somebody who is there to just guide you. That's all. There's no special thing. And then for the second question about internship, and I don't I don't accept excuses. Sorry, there's no excuse in my brain. You can always find a way to do things. It's not only radiotherapy. People always think of radiotherapy. There's radiology departments are in even in some villages, you have radiology departments there. So the problem I see might be that there might be no physicists. We have limited number of physicists in the country. So there may be no physicists who might teach you directly. But as long as there's a medical doctor, I always say 30 people in place of a physicist. If there's a medical doctor in that place, especially if it's a radiation medicine department, the medical doctor would have knows about medical physics and can at least still offer some sort of guidance. So there might be no structured internship program there, but rather than you just sitting down at home, you can just volunteer and say, okay, is there something I can help you with? For example, maybe I can help you to collect data of the number of patients who have maybe done some biometric scans. If, for example, that's in an optical optometrist now, in an optician clinic now. You don't have to. There are many places you can go to. Physics is applied in every branch of medicine. And if you don't know that, please go back and look at all the videos of the Harmattan School. We have practically gone through all the branches of physics applications in medicine, and find one department or the other. Another way to get into research, you can get involved through research. there's always one MSc student or one PhD student, even if they are not in your village or in your city, you can connect with them through online, even through this chat. Now you can connect with someone and say, are you working on a project? Can I help you with your project? Can I join you? That way you are also learning medical physics. You are also building, you are not wasting time, and then you are building your CV too, because when it now comes down to applying for PhD scholarship, especially overseas, they'll ask you, do you have experience in medical physics? Do you have any? And you are there that there's no radiotherapy in my village, there's no this in my, no. There's virtual internship. Sometimes when I'm in the clinic, I have people, I turn on my video and say, I show them, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is how to do it, this is how to do it. So I'm sorry, there's really no excuse for anybody not to gain any sort of experience. And medical field is not only in the clinic, it's in the industries too.
Mm,
Regulatory industries, manufacturing industries. We have a lot of manufacturing industries in the country that, or think outside the box, and even if you don't have a physical location, you can learn something virtually. I hope
yeah.
I spoke answered the
Yes.
question well.
So there is no
No
excuse.
excuse, please, no excuse,
Whether
please.
it's research, whether optometry lab, whether anatomy lab, whatever,
No,
wherever
don't go to
you.
anatomy. Oh,
Oh,
I don't
yes,
know where
there's
the
somebody yesterday. There's somebody I spoke with yesterday actually who says is currently maybe learning something related to anatomy in a lab or so, because he wants to go into maybe neuroscience and stuff like that, neuroscience
okay.
imaging, blah
Okay,
blah
because when
blah.
I thought of
So
anatomy, I was thinking of the mug. So
no,
sorry.
no, 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 no. I don't mean that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it even speaks to even the fact that the field is a multidisciplinary field,
Mhm.
right? Once you are done with, I'm just thinking, what once you are done with um a medical physics MSc and you don't have maybe clinical experience, for example, there are other areas that one can just begin to gain knowledge or exposure in. For example, if you want to go into the computational aspect, what if you want to start preparing your skills in programming and all that? So it's really broad, and don't see your period as a waste of time to do nothing. Find
Can I
something to
say
do. Either
something?
yes,
If there
ma'am.
is no medical physicist, or if you cannot find, okay, let me give an example. There was a time I shadowed a radiologist who was doing biopsies, breast biopsies with mammography and ultrasound. Doing biopsy is not the job of a medical, but that was the beginning of that's how I started to learn about mammography and ultrasound. Watching the biopsy, and I said, okay, no, a physicist can help to do this, a physicist can help to do this, a physicist can help to do this, a physicist, and I was also reading books too. So that's why I said, if you even have a doctor, like ultrasound, we don't have physicists in the country who are doing ultrasound, and we learned today. The first thing you should go and do is to go and shadow an ultrasound doctor, and then ask them what I would do. Do you have any problem? Physicist is a problem solver. Ask them, do they have any problem in that clinic? That is one way to come in. Any problem they have, whether with the patients or with the machine, physicists, you have an opportunity there. But most times, young people, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, whatever you call yourselves, people are always thinking of money. If they are not offering money, I don't want to do anything. And yeah, you are wasting away. And tomorrow you say that you don't have any experience. No. First of all, think about how you can offer service, how you can apply those your undergraduate skills that you already have, how you can use that to serve, to make the clinic better, to make the job of the doctor better. You start from there, and then you start to build up. And then from there, you
Mm,
can now create it. We have a colleague who did that. There was no radiology physicist as at that time, and he was the one who created a space. And today, he's the one training other physicists. He could have sat down there and said, "There's no radiology physicist in Nigeria." No, he went there to start, blaze the trail for others to come in. So please don't sit down there and be complaining. Go and find out what you can do, how you can, open up the way for others to come in.
yeah. True. Thank you so much, Ma. And just as Dr. Ken said, as long as you are not going there to eat pizza, if you are going there to gain value, there is really no reason for us to just give excuses. My ears was already opening to one opportunity to even learn ultrasound somewhere close to me, and I think I've been sleeping on that for quite a while now. So thank you so much for that response. I'd like Dr. Madu to answer. Someone asked that, is there a difference between a medical physicist and a biomedical engineer?
Thank you very much. Clarification first. I'm not Dr. Madu. I'm Mr. Madu. Well, that's okay. There is a huge difference between you asked a biomedical engineer, right? Okay. I think there's a
Yes.
huge, yeah, there's a huge difference between a biomedical engineer and a medical physicist. Um, I would have, if the question had been, is there a difference between a medical physicist and a biological physicist? I think that is where I feel there could be some maybe a comparison, or I mean a mistake. Because for a medical physicist and a biomedical engineer, they are clearly are different, though they are professionals that work in the same, most times in the same facility, if it is a radiotherapy center. Biomedical engineers, by training, they are engineers. And medical physicists, by training, they are physicists. By so with that, that draws a big difference between them. A biomedical engineer, first of all, he is an engineer, and a medical physicist is a physicist. But biomedical engineers, they go further to do some courses related to medicine. Of course, there are so many equipment that are used in the hospitals, CT machines. If you go to Calabar, there are so many equipment there that engineers handle that physicists also use. If you go to radiology department, if you go to surgery departments, go to dental departments, we always interface with so many of these biomedical engineers. They are the ones that take care of the equipment that are used in the hospitals. And radiotherapy machine form a bulk of this equipment. So biomedical engineers are different from medical physicists. In some countries, they have they have one common body. Like I think IPEM have Institute of Physicists and Engineers in Medicine, because they see that the two of them have a lot in common. So they thought it would be very, very wise for them to come together as a body to advance their cause. But speaking strictly, there's a huge difference between a medical physicist and a biomedical engineer. Medical physicists use the application of physics and in medicine to bring about a cure of so many diseases, not just diseases related to cancer. While about medical engineers, they make sure that all these machines they work optimally, and when they have issues that outside of the scope of a medical physicist, like in some hospitals, there are some there are some key functions that medical physicists do that biomedical engineers could also do. But there are some that are clearly for example, now if a maybe an electron gun in a linear accelerator has an issue, a medical physicist has no business dismantling the machine to go and get the electron gun and maybe repair or send for replacement. That is the work of a biomedical engineer. But when issues come in terms of tuning the machine, a medical physicist can actually tune a linear accelerator. A medical physicist can actually check the energy issues in a medical linear accelerator. So the two professions can
Yeah.
actually, there could be a, will I say, um, a place where the two of them can come together. But as strictly speaking, the two are actually different in terms of a function as engineers
Mhm.
and as a medical physicist.
Yeah.
I don't know
Thank
whether,
you.
yeah, okay.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, sir, for your response. We'll be wrapping up shortly. We have like two more questions. Dr. Ken will take one, and then the last one will be a general question for everyone. Some people have been asking the different fields that they are in, and they want to transition into medical physics. Please, that has been addressed already irrespective of the field, if you already have a background in physics, maybe you already did your BSc in physics, you're now in radiation physics or health physics or whatever physics you're in, all you need to do is to do an MSc in medical physics and then go for an internship. That's the pathway. If you are not in any physics related course, all you need to do is to take
An
a
MSc
physics,
or PhD, please let that
an
be clear.
MSc or PhD in medical physics. Yes, thank you, ma. And then you need to start from the beginning, which is take a degree in physics, and then from there you climb, you move up. So then we've been asking when Dr. Iyobosa responded on mentorship. I've been seeing comments on how do you get a mentor. So luckily, Dr. Iyobosa, who is the current president of Nigerian Association of Medical Physics, also has been running some course on mentorship. We have a mentorship program which is Teach Career Network, and I've been one of the beneficiaries. At the time when I was concluding my MSc, at the time my head was already thinking, so what are we going to do now? And then that mentorship program was really super enlightening for me. So if you would like to be a part of that, the next one will be announced soon. I'm very sure that those participants of the mentorship program can testify in the comment section on the mentorship program. So it should be a good time for you to just go to Instagram or LinkedIn and search for Teach Career Network. I'm sure that we even have a podcast that recently started. You can watch the first episode that we released, and while you await more insightful episodes, even the
But Favor,
next
can I
men.
say something? So that they
Okay,
don't start waiting, mentorship should not be complicated.
okay,
Just find someone around you that you trust, that has gone in the direction you want to. It might be different for different people. So somebody, for example, might just need a mentor to guide him or her on how to get an MSc. You, for example, you already have your MSc. You can mentor someone.
yeah.
You guide the person. So that's simple definition of mentorship, because I can see you're trying to. So let's not complicate what
Dr. Yomosa will
mentorship
make
is.
people start chatting me for mentorship. Oh, Dr. Yomosa is our leader.
I'm just I'm just trying to tell you that let's not complicate what mentorship
Yes,
is.
good,
And you can
good.
have more than one mentor. Somebody can be guiding you in the ultrasound, another person can mentor you in this, another person can mentor you in that. So don't limit yourself. What we are just trying to. So find somebody around, because the closer the better. Because most mentorship relationships evolve to personal relationships, because you can have some emotional, you
Yeah.
are dealing with things and you don't want to be talking to somebody that's, so if you cannot find someone closer, then you start to reach out, so please, let's not complicate it. In addition to what you have said, don't want people to
Yeah, but
start saying,
please,
oh, there's
honestly,
one.
I'm very sure that Teach Career Network mentorship program will also bless you. So you can search for Teach Career Network on LinkedIn and Instagram. Yes. So the second to the last question for Dr. Ken would be: people have been asking, considering we've mentioned that not all schools in Nigeria probably are accredited enough. So people want to be sure of where they can take medical physics courses, or maybe a master's or PhD in medical physics, and they can maybe confidently beat their chest that they have studied medical physics. So, are there accredited institutions that are recognized for studying medical physics?
Okay, thank you so much. That is a very important question, and I do hope everybody pay attention. Part of the objective of the current National Executive Council is to enhance the quality of the course and the profession. I mean, it's something we are doing without blinking, irrespective of the energy of resistance. We want to make sure that it takes the rightful place in the health sector. And so, part of what we are also encouraging prospective students, going for master's or PhD in medical physics, is that you should be properly guided. That NUC had accredited a school is not enough. because we understand quite a lot of anomalies in the educational sector in Nigeria. Recently, we had a panel, during the NAMP at 40, part of the conversation. And, one of our panelists said that NUC does not care so much about what happens at postgraduate level. That was so indicting. Hence, every profession must do everything to uphold the quality of their profession. And as such, if you intend to pursue a postgraduate program in medical physics, you must visit the NAMP website to see the accredited university. You must visit the NAMP. Please don't make any mistake. Even if you're already pursuing a master's or PhD program, you visit the NAMP website and the school where you're pursuing it is not accredited. Please, you may need to ask questions. Part of what we are considering is that you can't have radiographers train medical physicists. I mean, how do I put it for you to understand? Maybe like having a cobbler that polishes shoe, training somebody who is a professional in shoe production. It is an aberration. It doesn't happen. Now, a situation where you have a postgraduate program accredited in a department outside the Department of Medical Physics, that program is null and void. In fact, as you're running it, you are not employable, you cannot practice. It's as simple as that. There is no other way we can pretend about it. So my simple advice, and I wish we can all take this in seriously, is that if the lecturers you have in the school, who is your supervisor? You are pursuing medical physics and your supervisor is a radiologist. That is not allowed. He can do a co-supervision, but not your major supervisor. So if your supervisor is not a medical physicist, your program, your qualification, whatever you tender to NAMP, may be turned down because the prerequisites are not there. So if the school where you're pursuing your postgraduate program, you don't have medical physics training you, you don't have them supervising you, the course curriculum is empty, and even if the course curriculum will see the content, we also want to know not just the course title, what is the content and who is teaching those courses. Now, a situation where we don't have round pegs in round hole and square pegs in square holes, then obviously is just like effort in futility. So to be kind to you, please, for the prospective and for those who are already pursuing their master's and PhD in medical physics, please go back and check who are your lecturers, who is your supervisor. If your supervisor is not a medical physicist, you will graduate, you will not be recognized in this country. If the course content is empty, you will just carry the paper, but you will not be recognized and nobody will employ you. We are getting to that point when you can always beat your chest. If you're a medical physicist in Nigeria, you want to be proud of it because those who are medical physicists in America, they earn over $200,000 annually. That means you're taking home over $15,000 every month, when some pediatricians in America are taking $10,000. So this makes you understand, the profession you're pursuing. I'm sorry I'm taking a longer time. I didn't want to speak for too long, but I really feel that I need to, stress it a
Very
little
important one.
so that you can read my lips. Like stressing it, that is very, very important that you know the school, the lecturer, your supervisor, the course content. All these things will put them. And finally, please go to NAMP because we are doing verification of all these programs here and there. And any school will fail meet the minimum requirement will upload on NAMP platform. If you don't find the school there, then you should start asking the department questions. And you can also reach out to NEC, who might also be in a way to advise on the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So everyone, is a good time to go to www.nam.ng to visit the website and check for your accreditation, whether your school is accredited. And very important, if you're a master student or PhD student, is also a good time to know. And you're not yet a member of NAMP, please do well to register for NAMP. And I'm sure in tomorrow's session, there will be a segment talking more about the Nigerian Association of Medical Physicists. And so you can ask, you'll be able to know the details regarding how to be a member. Very important. So the last question, first, before we go to the last question, let's do out to note that the poll will be taken again after now. And so please be on the lookout. Let's be on the lookout this time, if you did not take the poll at the time. So this last question would be just a general question for everyone. What advice would you give to a younger medical physicist? And then you'll be speaking from the aspect of maybe looking at your journey and saying, okay, maybe what are the things I would have done better, maybe in this field, and I would like to advise the upcoming people to take note of that. So I'll go from Mr. Madu to Dr. Ken, and then I'll wrap up with would wrap up with Dr. Iyobosa. And then I would also want Dr. Iyobosa to just briefly touch on, to wrap up our session, she would briefly touch on how can even a medical physicist from Nigeria position themselves for global opportunities? Are there things maybe to add to your certifications? You even talked about CVs. I'm very sure people are looking for maybe global opportunities or maybe recognitions or stuff like that, and say, okay, with my MSc, what else do I need to do? Do I need to get more certifications? What do I need to do from Mr. Madu?
Well, thank you very much. I don't know how to begin. If I'm given 1 hour, I don't think I'll be able to say how the journey has been for me. For me, my own journey is very complicated. So I will make it as simple as possible. For upcoming medical physicists, first of all, you have a passion to study medical physics. If you don't have a passion for it, then there's no way you would succeed in this profession, especially when you finish and you don't have maybe you don't have a job immediately. You will feel demoralized, and of course, you might just leave the system. For me, I didn't start off as a physicist. I started off with something else, and along the line, I found physics refreshing and very, very interesting. So that made me continue with it, and ended up being a medical physicist. So like I said, the first thing has to do with your passion. Do you have a passion in what you are doing? Like my head of department in those days in architecture, he told me, if your passion is frying akara ball, he said, go and pursue it. You'll be successful in that. But if it is not, I bet you doing this, becoming an architect or a medical doctor will never give you the joy you so desire. So my first is always pursue whatever you have passion in. And if you have started your medical physics journey, try and see how much passion you can infuse into it. If you're not passionate enough about it, because I tell you, medical physics is the course to study. That is why we have so many problems with it in Nigeria. Everybody wants to become a medical physicist. You're a medical doctor, you are not satisfied with I want to become a medical physicist. You are this, you want to become a medical physicist. Everybody is flooding to become a medical physicist because of the potentials inherent in physics. Physics is a course you can, after studying, you can branch off anywhere. And so many of us have found medical physics as that branch and that we have found recourse in. So passion is there, and you should be very ready to face the challenges of becoming a medical physicist. Because I tell you, medical physics is a course you have to, like I said before, develop yourself mentally to be able to succeed in, because challenges will always come. In the hospitals, you will be bombarded with a lot of, like somebody asks, if a medical physicist should be a researcher. Of course, you've got to become a researcher for you to actually function efficiently and effectively as a medical physicist. The research instinct has to be activated in you to be able to, because I remember there was a problem we had in our hospital sometime. So just a simple case of moving a machinery causing a problem. And when the machinery is stopped, the problem was resolved. So it only got us thinking and thinking, and we propounded that will I say theory, and that solved the problem. So as a medical physicist, you should be ready to um, go beyond what an ordinary, I don't know how to put it. You should be able to stretch yourself. That's just it. So from the passion there, you should be able to stretch yourself at every
Yeah.
point in time. Yeah. Maybe I'd like to stop here because if you give me the whole day, one will continue saying a lot, because there is a lot
Yeah.
one can say, one wants to say concerning the journey of a medical physicist, of his a medical physics so far. So thank you. Let me stop there.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. It feels like Mr. Madu has seen a lot. So when he's telling you that you need to stretch yourself, please pay attention. Thank you so much, sir. So, Dr. Ken.
Okay. Yeah. Like he said, quite a lot to talk about, because some of us will certainly learn from the experience of the forerunners. But in a nutshell, um, let me say that generally in life, you must be resilient. And resilience comes when there is conviction. Now, if you're doing something because of another person's conviction, then it becomes a problem. It's just like where somebody came up and told you that the Lord said that this person is your wife. And you married based on that somebody said that the Lord said this woman is your wife. Honestly, you've stepped into hell on earth because there was no conviction. So everything was based on somebody said the Lord said. Now, sorry, for those that are not Christians, I mean, what I just said is something that is so common among Christians. Now, there must be conviction. You must be convinced about what you're doing. And that conviction will lead you to being resilient, to being dedicated, to being competent. Now, for me, we are the pioneers of the program in University of Nigeria and Nsukka. And it took me 5 years as the first person graduating from the department, master's degree, first person, 5 years. And because we needed to clean up, quite a lot. Of course, we were taking courses in the College of Medicine. I mean, there were quite a lot of challenges, but we were resilient that it must stand. And the second person who graduated spent 6 years to have his master's degree. Now, I did 5 years, for PhD, and spent over 5 million naira on research. Now, one will be asking, where was the money coming from? The money came because I was determined, like I wasn't going to stop halfway. And I also made efforts, even went to South Africa to present 2 papers when people were looking for national conference to present papers, because I was convinced about what I was doing, and there was no place for second fiddle. And that thing is, whatever you're doing, is approximating is not the best. Please be at the best of whatever you're doing. And let me tell you again, for you to be respected in the hospital, if you have nothing to offer, nobody is going to respect you. You become a figure when you have something to offer. Just this morning, I had my lectures with resident doctors, and I'm the chief because I have something to offer. If I'm empty, nobody respects me. It's not by age that they respect you, it's by what impact you can make. And finally, let me just say, please, whatever you're doing, ensure you are accountable and ensure you have integrity. Don't be the kind of person who everything works. You have no stand, you're just a mediocre, sing praise to this person, sing praise to that person. You don't have a stand. Please be accountable and ensure that you have integrity. Because over time, people will always make reference to the personality they know about you as somebody that can be trusted. So let me stop at that point. We can always
Yeah.
continue the conversation.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, sir. It's true. People naturally gravitate towards value, and so become a valuable person. That's like a big summary to gain from it. Like Dr. Yobo says, there is really no excuse for any one of us, even to myself, to just sit and be idle. People gravitate towards value. People will respect you because you're a person of value. So be the best at what you do, wherever you find yourself, whatever subfield or aspect of medical physics you find yourself, even whether as an undergraduate student who is on this call, become a person of value, be the best at what you do. And then a very key aspect that he mentioned that I feel like every one of us should pay attention to is resilience. We tend to give up when we see that something is not working. Oh, I tried and I applied and it didn't work, and then I've given up. He even said he spends 5 million naira for his research. Maybe some people have just spent 100,000. I'll say, no, I cannot do it again. That's why I don't like this Nigeria. But you see how much he has spent. He spent. So it takes passion, like Mr. Madu said, and resilience to really stay the course in the field. So thank you for that insight, Mr. Dr. Ken. Yeah. So finally, we'll just be taking the advice and the question we asked Dr. Iyobosa to wrap up this session. And the form has also been shared. The attendance form has been shared to the chat box. So please, let's do well to open and take our attendance. Thank you. Dr. Iyobosa, over to you, ma'am.
Medical physics is a very rewarding field, and regardless of how it looks like today, I would ask us to be patient. Things will get better. Like, it will come to a time when medical physicists will be earning $10,000 or $15,000 per month, like in the US. The time will come. So be patient. That's number one. Number two, if you are not finding fulfillment in this field of medical physics, please change your course. Go and do something else. Life is not hard. Do whatever makes you happy. I'm here because medical physics makes me happy. If I tomorrow, I keep telling my colleagues, but they don't believe me. If tomorrow I feel unhappy in this field, I will do something. I will change to geophysics, or I'll go and study English or something. So do what makes you happy. If you're not finding fulfillment in medical physics, please change your course. On the other hand, I would say, we're talking of resilience here. Stick with medical physics. Things are changing rapidly in the world. We are moving into, artificial intelligence and so on and so forth, whatever technology that is going to come up in the next 5-10 years. And as a physicist, as a medical physicist, you are already well prepared to occupy that space. The skills you have currently as a physicist, the knowledge you have, physicists are the ones who are changing things now in the world. This artificial intelligence that everybody's talking about, the people behind the scenes are physicists. So on the other hand, I would say be patient.
Maya muted.
Was I talking before? I don't know who muted me.
Yes, 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 you were.
Okay. So you will get the reward in the long run. And it doesn't really matter what you even study, whether you studied medical physics, you studied English, you studied computer science, you studied music, you studied plumbing, painting. At the end of the day, what are you using that skill, that knowledge, that profession, that course? How are you using it to impact humanity? That is what is going to count at the end of the day. Nobody really cares at the end of the day if you're a professor of medical physics or you're a professor of law, if you are not touching lives around you, if you are not helping people. So please use your medical physics knowledge and skills to make impact. That's what I would say. The second question, how do you position yourself? By attending the Harmattan School. By see, be relevant. You see, now the walls there are no walls again. There are no borders again. You can be in Nigeria and be in America and be in Europe or be in anywhere in the world. So first of all, you need to break that mental barrier. The problem we have, especially as Nigerians, Africans, there's that mental, like Bob Marley. What Bob Marley sang one song, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. You need to break that mental barrier. Don't think that because you are in Nigeria, you are not good enough as someone who is in America or who is in UK or who is in Europe. You see, if you have that mindset, even if you go to the America, you still be and think like a slave, a physics slave. So you need to change that mindset. So see yourself as a global citizen. Whatever you need to do, I used to tell students a lot, whether you went to FUNAB or you went to FOIA, you went to FUTA, you went to UI, you went to this, check yourself. You are the one that knows the problem you have. If you think that you are not good enough, then go and find the skills or find the knowledge that upskill so that you can upgrade yourself. Don't just sit down there and be complaining. Lots of videos are on YouTube, lots of lectures are on YouTube. Go and learn so that when you're interacting with fellow people, fellow colleagues in Europe or anywhere in the world, you are not going to see yourself as a what's the word now? Inferior. You're not going to see yourself as inferior. So do what your colleagues are doing overseas. Find out what they are doing and do them. You are in Nigeria does not stop you or does not limit you because of this virtual world that we all live in. So yes, I think if you can do that, but firstly is the mindset. If you don't even have a good mindset, I'm sorry. I meet a lot of people that think very strangely, and it gives me, it's a call for concern because you don't see yourself. You see yourself as an inferior person. If you see yourself as inferior, you will always be inferior. You can never be global. So start by changing the way you think, and then all other things would fall in line. I think let me stop there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So we have to change our mindset. Stop seeing yourself as one who is limited, and also be good at what you do. Everything you do, just be great at it. Don't first see yourself or where you are as a limitation. I think Africans, we as Africans or Nigerians already have that construct. And so when we are asking questions or when we go to places, sometimes we already have that narrative of, okay, what of me as an African? What, as long as you're already placing that limit on yourself, even if there are opportunities, you are already seeing the limit in your mind. So it's very important for you to take off the limit in your mind. And as long as you are even brilliant, you're valuable, you're excellent at what you do. Excellence is a global currency. I don't think excellence is even limited to any country. Or as long as you're excellent, people would see you and you are visible. People will spotlight you. People will know you for what you do. And one of the things Dr. Iyobosa said earlier in the session, which is communication skills. I heard somebody says one way to be attractive is to be able to think well, write well, and speak well. So if you have those coupled with your technical knowledge, I feel like there's no limit to which we can attain. So we have come to the end of this panel session. I'm sure we had a great time learning from our our panelists. Want to say a big thank you to Mr. Madu. Want to say a big thank you to our Vice President, Dr. Ken Sylvester. Want to say a big thank you to our President, Dr. Iyobosa, for an amazing time. Please let's go to celebrate them in the comments. And I think with this, we would be bringing Harmattan School Day 2